Hey guys, Belle here from Disney in 3, here to talk to you about the 5 restaurants you must make a reservation for on your vacation, otherwise there's just no way you're going to be able to get a table. I was inspired by a recent trip that I'm planning in September to go back to Disney World and had an experience doing reservations and just kind of jogged my memory on how some were much more difficult to get than others. So let's go through the list. Okay, first one I made immediately, Cinderella's Royal Table. I'm celebrating my anniversary, and so I wanted to be able to go on the date of my anniversary. Now, when you're scheduling a reservation for Cinderella's Royal Table, you must do it 6 months in advance. Disney lets you go into their website and program your reservations up to 6 months early. So on that first day of the 6 months, be sure to click on Cinderella's Royal Table and put down your deposit. It's one of those restaurants where you have to have you have to pay for your meal basically before you go, which is kind of nice because you're paid up. You don't have to worry about paying for it on your trip. But what I did this year was I opted to get the free dining plan by going in September, and they're actually going to give me back my $150 that I spent reserving the meal after we eat there. So that'll be nice to get that money back. Also, Cinderella's Royal Table, depending on how many people you have in your party, depends on how much you have to pay up front. I believe it is $75 a person, because I paid $150 for me and my fiance, and so if you have a family of 4, it'll be upwards of $350. So just be aware of that before you plan, especially if you're going for dinner, because it gets rather expensive. Okay, so second restaurant you need a reservation for way in advance is Ohana at Disney's Polynesian Resort. The best buffet ever. My favorite place to go at Disney World. Almost as good as Cinderella's Royal Table. It just has this cool Hawaiian theme. It's all you can eat, baked meats on this huge fire grill, and I always try to go every trip that I'm on because it's definitely a really cool place. This year I waited a bit longer to make my reservations. I was about 5.5 months before my trip, and I tried to find dinner at Ohana on the day that I arrive, and the only time they had was 9:30 at night, so I was like, that's a little bit late to eat. I checked the dates for the rest of the week I was going to be there to see if I could make a different reservation on a different day earlier, and there was absolutely nothing. So you need to plan a reservation at least 5.5 months early, or there's just no way you're going to get in. So definitely, when you're planning Disney World vacation, you want to be ahead of things. Like, you don't want to show up definitely to any of these restaurants on the day that you are actually in the parks and try to get a reservation in person. It's just going to be too hectic. You're going to have your family disappointed if they can't get in. There are times where I've been able to get in. Usually if I'm only with one other person. A whole family of 4 to 6 can get a little iffy. And Disney, of course, they're very kind and they try to recommend other places that possibly might be open, but for these restaurants we're talking about today, you definitely need a reservation. Okay, so third one is Be Our Guest. Be Our Guest is the newest restaurant in the Magic Kingdom. It's inside Beauty and the Beast castle, and it is amazing. It's beautiful, and you need a reservation at least 6 months in advance. It books up like that. They serve all sorts of kind of French inspired meals. They also have a kids menu that has like chicken tenders and stuff like that. Really beautiful, definitely worth a trip, especially if your daughter or your wife loves Belle from Beauty and the Beast as much as I do. So be sure. My friend surprised me with reservations for my birthday, and she said she was trying to get them for weeks. Because people they cancel reservations once in a while and maybe you can get squeezed in there, but that's taking a risk that I don't usually like to make, so definitely 6 months ahead of time. The good news is though, Be Our Guest, if your trip is within 6 months and you just can't get a reservation, they have a quick service restaurant also inside, so you can walk around, see the castle, not necessarily eating inside it, but inside another little restaurant right next door that has some of the same sort of decorating, and you might get a chance to meet Belle or the Beast. Okay, so for our fourth pick was Victorian Albert's from the Grand Floridian Resort. It's a really fancy place. I wouldn't really recommend bringing kids there, but it gets rave reviews, especially for people celebrating like wedding anniversaries or Valentine's Day, something like that. You actually have to wear like a nice outfit. Like a woman has to have a dress or a skirt on with a blouse, and a man has to have a dinner jacket and long pants. because they do have a pretty strict dress code there. So definitely Victorian Albert's very fancy, especially if you're celebrating a really important special type of occasion. Okay, so for our final restaurant that you must have a reservation for is California Grill at the Contemporary Resort. This place is really cool. They have a lot of really modern California-inspired dishes, some really great sushi. It's on the top floor of the Contemporary Resort. So at night, if you get your timing right, you can actually see the fireworks going off in the Magic Kingdom from the restaurant. They have a big open window balcony. So it's really cool if you're celebrating like a birthday, anniversary. It's definitely not a cheap restaurant, but it's beautiful and a really cool experience that the whole family would enjoy. So another quick tip, if you it's a good idea to get those 6 months in advance also. If you can't get a reservation and you don't really mind not eating, but maybe you want to see the fireworks, they have a balcony that you can check out. If you end up getting a reservation earlier in the day, like maybe you're eating at 1 o'clock, you can actually come back later and bring your seat and you can see the fireworks at night from the balcony of the restaurant. That's also an option for you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, the top 5 restaurants you must have a reservation for before you show up on your trip. This is Belle from Disney in 3, and I hope to see you guys at Disney soon. All right.